We're with Nicola Cook today, who is a travel planner with AirTreks. And I've got a bunch of questions for you, Nicola, because I'm very, very curious about this round the world travel and tickets. So tell me, what exactly is a round the world ticket?
Okay, so at the most basic level, it's a series of tickets, a series of flights, which will get you from A all the way back to A again. That's at its most simple level. But realistically, what it can mean is that you can either follow a set route or follow an alliance route, or you can have a very personalized experience, which will take you to all the destinations that you're really keen to visit. Or you can also take a ticket that will start at A and finish at B. You know, there's no need for it to be a full round the world. So really, although we use the phrase round the world as like a shorthand for multiple flight legs stitched together to get you from where you want to go, it's really a lot more flexible than that.
So why would I do that instead of just going out and buying a bunch of individual tickets?
Well, that's a really good question. I mean, we live in an age of self-service, and it's really easy to default to think, I'll just go and I'll book one leg at a time, and I'll do that through Skyscanner or Kayak, and I'll be able to put together my ideal trip that way. But the benefit is when you kind of take a step back and you look at your journey holistically. Quite often there's different ways that we can combine tickets in a way that's going to make it a lot cheaper or going to make your route a lot smoother. You can benefit from free stopovers in places that you wouldn't necessarily have considered. We can add a lot of value into your route. So actually, by taking a look at everything as a whole, you can end up getting an awful lot more, both in terms of value and travel benefit, out of considering your tickets as a holistic round the world or a multi-stop itinerary.
Actually, that's really interesting because earlier today I went on the AirTreks site and I had a look at an itinerary, a sort of dream itinerary for myself, and went to the most unlikely places in the world. And even so, I found the price was relatively logical. It wasn't cheap, but it was, it was perfectly sensible for what I wanted. But not only that, what I really liked is it made a bunch of Japan in Singapore and a few other places. And I thought, well, no, I haven't actually. But now that you mention it, so I see the benefits of that. But take somebody like me. I'm slightly past my early 20s. And somebody like me would benefit from having these round the world tickets. I mean, what kind of travelers use these round the world tickets? Isn't it just backpackers?
Well, you know what? That's what I thought as well. Before I started doing this myself, I was like, oh, it's going to be great, but it's all going to be 20-year-olds wanting to go to Australia or whatever. And you know what? The thing that amazes me every day is the diversity of people that come to us and look to talk to us about transformational travel experiences. It really is such a wide range. I mean, the people that particularly jump out for me is last week I was speaking to a woman. She'd recently had cancer. She'd gone through a redundancy process, and this was her first big travel. She was really going out and grabbing this. So we were able to put together a route for her that she was going to visit friends in all these different continents, and we were able to create this trip that worked beautifully for her. And I guess part of what we do, it's a very consultative piece. So, you come and talk to us, and you talk to one person throughout the whole planning process, and no repeating yourself, no call centers. And it's really nice because we get to develop a relationship with the people that we help to plan. And there's a real, kind of vested interest in getting the best outcomes. So it's really everybody, families, couples, solo female travelers. It's such a diversity. And I guess that's there's lots of things I love about this job, transformational travel and making it happen. That's a really big part of it. But also it's the relationships that you get to develop with people and help them take these big steps, help them take these big journeys.
Okay, I'm convinced. I'm ready to jump on the plane. So tell me, how does this exactly work?
Okay, so, well, I mean, if we're talking about round the world tickets as a whole, rather than me just kind of talking about AirTreks, which I'd obviously love to do, but just to give kind of a more holistic view. So there's two main types. So you can either go with an alliance. So an alliance is a group of airlines. There'll be anywhere from kind of like 10 till say 25 different airlines that will work together. And when you buy around the world from them, you use their airlines to go to the destinations that they fly. And there's kind of certain rules. So you generally have to go in one direction. Like you can't fly over the same ocean twice. You have to make sure you use their airlines. So provided they fly somewhere, then that's great. And if they don't, well, you'll have to look at how to fill in those gaps. So that's option one. So the other side of things is what we do, which is much more of a kind of customized or personalized round the world experience. So what that means is you tell us where you want to go, and we then figure out the best ways to help you get there. And that can either be you have like quite a set vision in terms of I want to go to this country and this, and we can look at how we can put those flights together to get you the best value. Or it could be much more open, like, I really want to visit some amazing places in South America. I know I want to go to Oahu, I know I want to go to Patagonia, and we can help work through the different options in terms of the flights and the airlines to kind of put something together that's right for you. So there's two kind of fundamentally different sides of the coin when you're thinking about round the world tickets as a whole.
So why would I mean, yes, you do have a certain level of expertise, but why would I come to AirTreks to get my round the world ticket and not just go to an alliance? I mean, you did mention that specific alliances have specific rules. Is it because you are the expert and you know those rules and you can get me around them?
It's not so much that. It's just they do it one way. They do it their way, and you work within their parameters and their rules. Whereas what we have is, I say, we can shop from the whole of market. So we can get you anywhere on any airline, anytime. So provided there's a seat on that plane, if you want that seat, we can get that seat for you. Okay. And it's the consultative side of things. So it's much less, you're dealing with one person throughout, and we're able to kind of we have an expert, all of our travel planners, for example, so all the travel planners, such as myself, we've all been around the world at least once, in some instances several times. So we have that first-hand experience. And it's the little things like, how on earth are you going to get from Terminal 1 to Terminal 2 in Kuala Lumpur within the time allocated? It's all those little things we can feed into. And secondly, we have an expert rate desk. Their job is to make us travel planners look absolutely awesome because they spend all of their time immersed in the contracts and the routes and so on, and they can do incredible things with fares. So it's kind of it's freedom away from the rules of an alliance ticket. It's expertise. And all of that's backed up. We have a 24/7 support team, crack experts who are in different time zones around the world. So wherever you are, if you have a problem, if the airline has an issue with the plane and they're late, we have a support team there who are there to kind of fight your corner with the airlines to make everything, just to bring everything back together for you. So there's lots of kind of different aspects of it. I mean, they are fundamentally different, if you're buying around the world from an alliance, and that's going to work really well for some people. It might be the perfect product, whereas other people prefer the customized side of things. But the thing is, we'll normally figure that out pretty quickly, in the first conversation or two. If that's going to be a great fit for you, that's great. Off you go to that. If we're going to be a great fit for you, then fantastic. Let's work together. But it has to kind of be a bit of a match from both sides.
Mm. I'd like to know a little bit more about the alliances because I think there are several. They're quite large. I mean, how do you, if you were to decide to go with an alliance and do your own ticket, and which alliance would you choose? Is one better than the other?
That's a really good question. So, I mean, they're all different in two ways. So they're different in the airlines that are combined. So you won't find one airline in two alliances, for example. But they're also different in terms of the rules and the way they package them around the world. So some, for example, are continent-based. So you can visit 3, 4, or 5 continents, and it will be priced in bands like that. Others, for example, use a mileage base. So you're going to cover X number of thousand miles, and you can then disperse those miles around your trip as you see fit. So it's not really a question of is one better than the other. It's really which one is going to best suit you in terms of how they construct their round the world product, and how does that align with where you want to go. There's not really kind of a short answer to that, I guess. It's kind of a case of just going to each of the sites, plugging your way through it, and seeing which one is best fit. They all have their benefits, and they all have their good points, and they all have their bad points. But they all offer this complete round the world piece. It's just packaged in different ways each time.
So I can see the limitations where you would have to be flying with specific airlines that belong to an alliance. If I were to get a round the world ticket with AirTreks, would I be able to choose my own airlines?
Absolutely. So I mean, provided that there is a seat on the plane that you want, then we can get that for you. Now, obviously, that's tempered by availability and cost. But what we can do is we can look at all of the options on the market. We can find the best flights and the best routings and the best combinations for you. And the important thing is, I guess, is that you get to choose. So when you come to us, it's not like here's an off-the-shelf package and you're flying on this airline on this date and that's your lot. It's like you get to choose each of the flights in your itinerary, and we adapt it for your needs and your priorities each time. And I think one of the pieces is, just to jump back to an earlier question, when you're saying that, what's the benefit of actually considering my trip as a whole versus, buying leg to leg? If we start to think about availability, and you start to think about traveling, at peak times, so in Europe over the summer or at Christmas or any of the holiday seasons, as soon as you start to look to fly on those dates, availability only tends to go down, right? So tickets come available 11 and a half months in advance. And as more of them sell, availability drops and the fare goes up. So there's a huge amount of benefit to actually having a seat on a plane, going to the place you want on the date that you want in advance. Because the one thing that can really throw your budget out when you're traveling is you're suddenly, you want to get here on this date and the ticket's 3 times more expensive than you budgeted for. You can't find an alternative and you suddenly have this huge headache. Do I pay more for the ticket? Do I change my plans? So we can't really underestimate the value of actually having a seat on the plane on the days that you want. And the fact that we can shop the whole of market for you and come back with different options to kind of help get that trip right for you is a huge benefit in the overall scheme.
Sounds a little complicated. I mean, I'm sure it's not from where you stand. From where I'm sitting, it's a bit complicated. So how would I've decided I want to go around the world. Where would I start?
Okay, so if you're wanting to come with AirTreks and have a chat with us about it, the best place to start is from our trip planner. So with our trip planner, it lets you sketch out an initial route, just put in your destination, some rough dates, and it will then connect you up with one of the expert travel planners, like me. So our job is, it is complicated planning around the world, and it is a headache, and it's a huge time sink. And emotionally, I mean, I've done this myself. Okay, I did it. I took my 2 very small children, age 1.5 and 4, around the world. And that time, that energy, and goodness, the emotional exhaustion of just trying to get everyone everywhere. And we're here to take that pain away. So by sending in an outline, we can then get on a phone, have a conversation, and start to create a solution that's right for you. Yeah, our job is to take the pain away from all of this. You have a single itinerary, a single point of contact, 24/7 support. And you know what? When I went around the world, I did it leg by leg. And knowing what I know now, I would not do it that way again.
So just one more question. Does your service cost anything? I mean, if I go to the website and I put in a route, it says contact your travel planner, and I contact you, at which point do I have to pay something?
Okay, you don't. Right up until all of our estimates are fully inclusive. So that means that we look at our service as a whole. So there's lots of different ways that we can add value to your trip. So we can combine tickets in ways that you just can't as an individual. We sell about $20 million of airfare a year. So we have contracts with lots of the different airlines, so we can access fares that are beneficial. So we're always going to be competitive, and we also offer a very high level of service, but there is no separate fee. So you can just reach out and chat. It's really straightforward.
So why would anybody take a round the world trip? I mean,
Gosh,
what would motivate somebody to do that?
that's a really great question, and it's an incredibly open answer. I mean, there's as many reasons as there are individuals on the planet. I guess the one big theme that I keep coming across in conversation is that people are looking for something transformational. They're looking for a transformational change in their lives, either something within themselves or to step out of the day-to-day. But that piece of, recognizing that travel is going to be an incredible influence on them and really, open people's eyes and landscapes is the first. And I guess the second, aligned with that, is a willingness to embrace change. It is a big thing taking around the world on a multi-stop itinerary trip. It is a big thing to be, stepping out of your normal life and stepping into, long-term travel. And the desire to embrace that and step forward and really be part of that is a theme, a thread that we see go through everybody, whether it's a woman traveling on her own for the first time, whether it's a family traveling with small children, whether it's 2 guys straight out of college. Those are the 2 things, the transformative nature of travel and a desire to embrace change, that always come up during our conversations.
Well, thank you. I just might do that one of these days. Thank you so
Well,
much.
it would
That was
absolutely be my pleasure.
Nicola Cook, travel planner with AirTreks.
Thank you so much. It's been such a joy to talk to you.